Theo Dorset here, theoretically speaking, here on ESPN 106.3. And we got to bring in a guest here. We got to bring in my guy, Ahmad Hicks, Fox 9 sports anchor, and covers the Vikings out there in Minneapolis. And on a day like this, feels like a lot of doom and gloom, Ahmad. Just 2 weeks ago, we were on a boat in Chicago enjoying ourselves. Now, I mean, the whole season feels up in jeopardy. What the heck is going on out there at Vikings camp, bro?
Man, it's a lot of heads being hung right now inside our newsroom just talking about this season. A lot of fans on social media just pressing that red panic button and just, thinking that life is over with right now before the season even started. But I told people I think they're overreacting just a little bit. I mean, JJ McCarthy certainly looked good in his NFL debut, but it was 30 snaps against the Las Vegas Raiders, who's not that good of an NFL team. He did see some reps against the starters, but was going up against the two. So, I mean, there is a lot of upside in JJ McCarthy, but we have to remind ourselves that Sam Darnold was the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, and there's a reason that they paid him $10 million. But certainly a low spot for McCarthy fans and all the hype that he brought to the Vikings organization and their fan base.
Purple rain turned into purple pain here, man. What is there that much optimism for what JJ McCarthy can be? Because I hate this for the guy, number 10 overall pick, obviously the future, but it didn't feel like he was maybe even that ready. And then also, I've been kind of tantalized by the thought of Sam Darnold and the Kevin O'Connell offense with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, who, by the way, how's Addison? Is he good? What's up with the whole leg injury thing that just happened?
Look, I'll touch on Jordan Addison real quick because we're not in Cleveland right now, so I can only say what the report said. And I reached out to someone who was there, and my source told me that the injury didn't look serious, but he said that you won't know that until the Vikings put out some news about that. So he went down, making a contested catch apparently, came up slow. Two people had to help him up, then eventually got carted off. So that's all I know about Jordan Addison right now. But like you said, though, before the season, not many people expected much out of JJ McCarthy. It wasn't until he did what he did versus the Las Vegas Raiders where that hype meter kind of rose and everybody's like, oh, wow, the Vikings. And the whole deal with the Vikings and their fan base, Theo, they haven't won ever. It's been forever since they won. And so they're just hanging on to every possible hope of quarterback this, running back this, wide receiver this, because they are just dying for success here. And so any news about a quarterback getting hurt or running back getting dinged up, they're always going to be overreacting about that. But like you said, I think Sam Darnold has to prove himself this season, and he's never had the weapons he's had. Like his best receivers, DJ Moore, Jamison Crowder, Robbie Chosen Anderson. None of those guys compare to Justin Jefferson or TJ Hawkinson or Aaron Jones for that matter. So I think that Sam Darnold could still have a hell of a season.
That's kind of my angle with it. It feels like also now Sam Darnold has more leeway to have a bad game or two, right? Like you won't have fans calling for JJ to get in there if he can't. And with that amount of leeway, with that amount of offensive expertise around him, as well as, like you said, Justin Jefferson, I mean, I could get out there and throw the ball to him. Like the Vikings, I'm looking at the win total 7.5. I mean, you got to feel kind of confident about that, right? Like they can even get 8 or 9 this year.
I do. I think they can get 8 or 9 because of Kevin O'Connell specifically. Last season, this was a team on the verge of making it to the NFL postseason, but they didn't have a quarterback with a strong arm. When Kirk Cousins went down, they had to bring in Josh Dobbs, who barely knew the playbook, and they just weren't going to change their system to fit Josh Dobbs' skill set. So that was kind of just like a 1 week trial period where it went well, then it went bad the next couple of weeks. Nick Mullins didn't have the right arm strength. Jaron Hall, who they drafted out of BYU, he does not have spectacular arm strength, where Sam Darnold does. There are throws that he can make where you're just like, wow. And then there are throws that he makes where you're like, Sam, what are you thinking? Like, you've been in the league long enough to know better than that. But like I said, he now can be a little bit more comfortable, Theo. He doesn't have to worry about someone breathing down his neck to take his job. He can deal with the criticism, and he certainly dealt with a lot of lows in his NFL career thus far. So it's about time to have some highs.
Now, back to JJ, though. How is he as a dude, right? Like, we know he meditates. We know he's a Zen guy. He's 21 years old. He feels mature past that. But, like, what has he been like in the locker room and around, and how much are the guys kind of attracting to him? Because, again, no matter what happens this year, it feels like obviously what the Vikings invested in him, that's the future.
People love him. And I will say this, you being a sports reporter know that like sometimes when you go in these locker rooms and you ask athletes these questions, man, they come off as just like rude, don't care about you, like think you're less of a person. Where JJ McCarthy literally uplifts everyone that he's around, teammates, reporters, coaches. Like we have conversations like we've known each other for 5 or 6 years. Like he just gave me a cell phone number the other day. We're talking about his fiance and how she's having problems at home with the dog and going to the bathroom. And it's like conversations that you typically wouldn't have with another superstar type player or a former first round draft pick. So I think he's a stud both on and off the field. The teammates love him. The coaches love him. Even head coach Kevin O'Connell, you could kind of see it in his press conference today where he was just feeling for JJ McCarthy and the injury that he had. But what I love most about this, I don't love that he got hurt. But I love that you no longer have to rush him into action like, the fans do nowadays, where it's a win for me now. What can you do for me now? Where it's like, all right, Sam Darnold has 3 bad games. Now they're calling for JJ McCarthy. If he gets out there and has 4 bad games, now his mental psyche is messed up for the rest of his NFL career, like Zach Wilson, or he's trying to rectify that. So I think for this, he gets a chance to groom himself as an NFL quarterback, be familiar with the verbiage, and then enter this offseason as the sole #1 quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings because Sam Darnold is only on a 1-year deal.
No wonder, with everybody trying to get to your cell number, no wonder why you got to keep on changing it. Ahmad Hicks, one of the smoothest dudes on TV out there in Minneapolis for Fox 9. It's hard to get to, man. Just a couple weeks ago, right? You just had to change your contact. Too many people blowing you up.
Hey, you know what? I always got time for you, and I understand you're busy. You feel me? I told you a couple of weeks ago that I know you're not that busy, but you're busy working. So I told myself I owed you. I had to free up my schedule to make sure I got time for the Theo Dorset. You feel me?
I appreciate that. Ahmad, bro, one last thing on the way out the door. I'd be remiss if I talk to anybody out in Minnesota. I got to bring up the Ant-Man coming off the Summer Olympics.
Yes.
Just how much hype, how much hope is there for what he and those Timberwolves could do building off the Western Conference Finals appearance and then also the gold medal for none other than the Ant-Man?
You know what's so funny about that question? This is a Vikings town through and through, no questions asked. The team could be 3-14. US Bank Stadium will still be sold out. People still will want the next Vikings podcast. But there are so many people talking about transitioning over towards NBA season in October right now because you see the Timberwolves are going to be opening night television. They're going to be Christmas Day television. Like Ant has resurrected this basketball town and made them believers. And they've never been believers in this team before. And now he's like, look, we're good. And I'm backing it up every time that I step on the court. So I've seen more Anthony Edwards sneakers around town than I've ever seen. There's more Ant-Man jerseys around town. And there are far more people requesting Timberwolves tickets right now, Theo, than Vikings tickets right now, at least through me. Like, hey, do you have any ends on Timberwolves tickets? And I'm like, the season is 2 months away. They're like, I need to get in on it now. So Ant has everybody wanting to get down to Target Center.
Well, just save me a couple because I will be up to Minneapolis a couple times this year, visiting my wife's side of the family. And, of course, I got to be at the Target Center checking out Ant-Man and yourself.
I got you, brother. Just let me know. You know I got you.
Ahmad, appreciate your time, Doc. Stay healthy out here with everybody dropping like flies with the Vikings, and again, just praying for health as well. You said what?
I'm staying away from the field. Don't worry about it. I'm good.
Yeah. Your playing day's over with, man.
I'm good.
We owe. Appreciate it, Ahmad.
All right, no doubt, Theo.